What do you do when you want to move but you just can't sell your house? It's been on the market for months and all the viewings have dried up. Well, what you do is you stop selling and start swapping. House swapping is the latest trend to hit the property world. With around 10,000 properties registered with swap websites, it's a brilliant way to avoid the dreaded property chain and to make that move onwards. We'll be meeting people who want to swap their home permanently.
Provided it has the extra bedrooms and the garden, we are quite open-minded.
And we'll show them 3 properties to find their perfect match.
Welcome to our 4-bedroom house.
I hope you've enjoyed the tour.
And maybe you can see yourselves living here.
After a day spent road testing each other's properties and lifestyles, we'll bring them to the negotiating table where our straight-talking negotiator, Sunita, will help them thrash out a deal.
They're prepared to drop to 120,000.
I think we're getting closer.
Before we find out if they'll swap homes for good. Hello and welcome. Today, I'm on top of the world. Well, that's not entirely true. I'm actually in rural Bollington in Cheshire, which is notable for its rather curious landmark. Do you want to see it? Then come this way and take a look at this odd fellow who has an even odder name. He's known as White Nancy, if you please. Well, you may be giggling at home, but if you think about it, really, a lot of our monuments have rather silly names, like Big Ben or Nelson's Column. Yes, who's sniggering now? But to add confusion to all of this and carry on the theme of silly names, this is Happy Valley. But there's one family here that isn't so happy and want a house swap. Nathan and Anastasia Bombrys have a trendy 2-bed loft apartment in a converted mill in Bollington, Cheshire. But they're looking to upsize to a larger house with a garden so they have more space for themselves and son Max. Now, somewhere up there is the apartment that's up for swapping, located within this beautiful old converted mill. Bollington used to be an industrial hub and had about 13 of these great big buildings, the majority of them producing cotton and silk. Well, I guess I shouldn't be milling about, should I? I should get in there and do a house tour. You coming? Let's do it. Right, now, once you're inside the apartment itself, you're faced with an avenue of doors, but we're going to ignore all of those and head straight for the light. Wow, look at this. I think we can all spot open-plan living when we see it. But before we talk about the space and how it's being utilised, let's focus on the main focal point. This huge, huge window goes right up to the ceiling, and you have this absolutely epic view where you can see for miles and miles and miles. Now, in terms of space, the way it works, we've got the lounge area, we've got the dining area, we've got the tropical region. Oh, I just poked my nose. And over here, we've got the, wait for it, we've got the kitchen area. So you've got all the mod cons there, and then we've got a kind of breakfast bar here where you could knock up a vitamin-enriched smoothie for brekkie, or in the evening, maybe a cosmopolitan when friends come to call. I like the evening idea, don't you? Right, now in here, because we've got an ensuite, I am sensing that this actually is the master bedroom, and I feel that maybe Max is a lucky boy. Hello, hello, hello. I feel Max is a lucky boy and has been given this well, the feeling is mutual. You've got this fantastic space. Again, a great big window and a fantastic view. Lovely, lovely space. Okay, so there's the family bathroom, which I think is very useful if you want to go up there. Because up on this mezzanine level, Anastasia and Nathan have put their bedroom. And it's wonderful because there's an inordinate amount of floor space. You can see loads and loads of space. And what I really like is that from that bed over there, through that window there, you can still glimpse the early morning sunrise across Happy Valley. And what could be more perfect than that? But after 6 years, Nathan and Anastasia want something bigger, and their apartment is on the market for £182,500. So Nathan, and you live in this fantastic building, so why would you want to move?
Well, we've really enjoyed our time here, but we need a little bit more space.
Right. Now, at the moment, Anastasia and Max, they're off on holiday, leaving you with the house hunting duties.
That's correct.
So what is it you're after then?
I think we'd like a place with 4 bedrooms in a nice neighbourhood so Max can ride his bike and hopefully have some friends nearby as well. You know, and a garden for the barbecue.
Garden, very important, I'm sensing.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Still staying very much rural?
I prefer to stay rural. I think my wife would like to go somewhere
really?
that's a bit more suburban,
Well, do you know
possibly.
what? Then she should have turned up. She shouldn't have gone on holiday. She shouldn't have left you with the house hunting duties. She should have turned up and told us what she wanted. So you're quite open-minded about what we look at in terms of style of property, be it house, something new, something old.
I think, you know, provided it has the extra bedrooms and the garden, we are quite open-minded. We're not necessarily expecting to find our dream home, but we're expecting to find, or hoping to find, our next home.
OK, now the very important question that we need to ask ourselves is how much can you swap up to?
For the right place, we could go up to 400,000, but it'd
Okay.
have to be a really special place.
Well, we might have some special places to show you. Why don't we head back and put the kettle on? Should we do it? First up, we're going, and I've got to make sure I pronounce this right, Tiverington, which I think is one of your desired locations.
Yeah, that is one of the areas we're looking in, yeah.
OK. Now, I'm going to show you a 4-bedroom house, 2 bathrooms, and when I say I, it's not really I, it's going to be Mark and Samantha showing us around their house. Are you ready?
Great.
Fasten your seatbelts. Here we go.
Hi, we're the Steels, and welcome to our 4-bedroom house in Tiverington.
This is one of my favourite rooms in the house, actually. We relax here a lot. This is a real wooden floor. It's carbonised bamboo, which is a bit unusual, but it looks so nice. We were drawn to it because it's got a high gloss finish.
The kitchen diner is probably my favourite room in the house, I would say. We do a lot of cooking in here and a lot of entertaining as well. We also have a great gadget over here, which is a choice of mine.
It's a good way to get the husband in the kitchen because he can actually watch telly while he's cooking.
As we head through here, we've also got the conservatory. I'm not a big gardener, but Evie loves it. It's great, isn't it? It's great for her to potter about in.
Unfortunately, not had much opportunity to be out here, but she does get excited by the fresh air. This bedroom actually used to be the master bedroom before we extended the house. This is our pièce de résistance, isn't it?
This was the last room we did in the house. It was at the time when my wife had actually gone into labour, and so I remember actually going to the hospital and you know, checking everything was all right, meeting my new daughter, and then having to rush off and say, I'm sorry, but the plaster's coming.
I think the hospital staff thought, oh, this dad's got his priorities right.
Yeah.
This is Evie's room.
Yeah, you can see Evie's room.
So this is effectively the 4th bedroom.
A lot of this work was done about a year ago.
We had to take out an extra mortgage to do it, so we had our valuations from the estate agents. They said to us, we think you've spent too much really, you might not get everything back that you've spent on it, but we've enjoyed living
so,
here.
yeah. Our house has been valued at £295,000.
Mark and Sam's 4-bed detached home with a garden in Tiverington has recently been refurbished and extended. So what would they like to swap to?
We've done the extension, we've had our little girl. Basically, we've both gone down to part-time hours so that we can spend as much time as possible with her while she's young. So we're looking to downsize. So that was our house. We hope you enjoyed the tour.
And I hope that you'll be interested in a swap.
What do you think?
That house would really appeal to Anastasia. That's
Okay.
what she's looking for. Looks like they've done a pretty nice job with it.
Yeah, and the garden's great for Max.
The garden looks pretty good as well,
Yep.
yeah.
OK.
So-
But what about you? I'm noticing you're not putting yourself in that equation, Nathan. What's going on?
No, it's what we're looking for. You know, I'd love to find something a little bit more, you know, unique or a little bit different.
OK, hold on. So, suits everyone, Nathan being difficult. Oh, right, OK, I've made a note of that. Well, look, let's leave that one on the back boiler for a second, and we're going elsewhere for property number 2, Buxton. I think you are going to really like the property because it's very quirky. It's in the theme of converted properties. Obviously, this is a converted old mill. This is a converted old Victorian school. So let's meet Stephen, the owner, and his son, Jack, as they give us a few lessons on their property.
Hello, I'm Jack Nash and this is my dad, Steve.
And this is the old schoolhouse at Harper Hill, Buxton, Derbyshire. It's a 5-bedroom property. This is the living room, or was our main living room area. We've actually moved out, as you can see now that the house is empty. This used to be the old assembly hall. The windows are fantastic for the views that are out there. We've actually had quite a few parties in here. We've had some good do's, haven't we, Jack, apart from when England got knocked out of the World Cup.
Yeah.
Which wasn't a very good party, was it?
No.
This is what we used as an office. It is actually classed as a bedroom. You weren't allowed in here very much, were you, Jack?
No. This is Natalie's room. It's another place I weren't allowed to go in.
Right, this used to be our bedroom. This is the ensuite bathroom, and the shower's quite a deluxe model. It's very nifty. It's got sprays that spray here, there and everywhere. And you can have a romantic night in here if you want. Here we go. It's a 3-level building, and this is the ground level where the kitchen is. This used to be the old playground at the school. The garden's probably one of the best features of the house, with the views and everything. The actual area in Buxton itself is a really lovely area. It's quiet. There is some beautiful buildings with the Opera House and the Pavilion Gardens. You can't help but fall in love with it round here. Currently, my house is on the market for $378,000.
Stephen's 5-bed school conversion in Buxton has stunning views of the Peak District. So, what's his ideal swap?
We're looking long-term to downsize from the mortgage on this and get something that is more like a 2-bedroom flat or a single terraced house. We hope that you've enjoyed your visit round our house, and hopefully we'll be seeing you soon. So, what do you reckon, Jack?
I reckon that you pick our house.
Let's say bye-bye then.
Bye-bye.
I don't think Jack was at all self-conscious about being on telly there at all, was he? Right, OK, I'm loving Stephen and Jack very much. But did you love the house?
Yeah, it's really unique, spacious, open. You know, it's the sorts of things that I would like, and actually Anastasia would really like the house as well.
OK.
Beautiful garden. You know, just walk out the garden and go for a long walk in the countryside.
And could you see yourself having a romantic evening in the shower that sprays you here, there and everywhere, quote, unquote?
But not yet,
No,
anyway.
No, my goodness me, my goodness me. The next property is in Road Heath. Does that mean anything to you?
No.
Well, it's 30 minutes away from Macclesfield, near Alsager. You're going to like it, I hope, because it's right by a canal, and you're already doing canal-side living. And I think Anastasia is going to like it because it looks like this. I want you to meet Ian and Susan.
Hi, I'm Sue.
And I'm Ian.
And we'd like to welcome you to our home in Road Heath near Sandbach, right next to the Trent Mersey Canal. We've had many lovely days here, having barbecues with neighbours.
And I've had many peaceful nights fishing away from the wife.
This is a straightforward house to live in here. There's plenty of living space. This is where we spend many a time watching our favourite TV programmes. This is a bird's eye view of our property that was taken a couple of years ago, and it shows how much ground and how much garden we actually do have here. And this is where we actually look out onto our private back garden, which leads onto the conservatory. This is my favourite place of the house. This is where I can really relax, and especially in the spring and the summer months, it's really beautiful in here. If I really have to force myself to exercise, this is the ideal place to do it. I think Madonna's actually got one of these.
It's where I do all my cooking. I tend to open a bottle of wine and get too happy with myself while I'm cooking, so a lot of the times we don't end up with what I've started off with.
Between Ian and I, we had 3 sons living here. This was David's room. He's our budding rock star. This was Jonathan's room, and he was always on his PlayStation, really playing games in here. And this was Tom's room. That leaves the main bedroom, where Ian and I are actually living. This is a lovely, bright room. We've got wonderful views across the canal.
We had a valuation of the house at £375,000.
Ian and Susan's 4-bed home in Road Heath has plenty of living space and a beautiful garden backing onto the canal. So what do they want in a swap?
Ian and I now have reached a time of our lives where the children have grown up, they've flown the nest, and we're really now only using 2 or 3 of the rooms in this big house. So we're really keen now to downsize and give us a lot more free time.
I hope you've enjoyed the tour of our house.
And if you'd really like to swap with us, just let us know.
OK, so thoughts please, Nathan?
Nice house, nice canal location. You know, looking out at some of the countryside views, it looked, you know, very similar to what we have.
Yeah.
You know, just down outside.
I'm looking at the house, I'm seeing the canal, and I'm picturing you sitting there with the ducks and your fishing rod late at night. And I think you look great. I think you look great there. But I'm not sure you're convinced.
You know, it is a nice house, but we would have to, in order to make it, give it our personality, there'd be, you know, work involved. Over time, we'd want to change that, and that would cost money, and it would also take time, so.
OK. So there are 3 very different properties in very different locations. You've got a big decision to make on behalf of the whole family about which one of those you would like to test drive.
Well, a bit of pressure, I guess I've got to make a decision without consulting Anastasia or Max. Yeah, I have a preference, but I also think I know my wife's choice as well. Yeah. So, you know, there's a bit of a debate at the moment.
It's difficult. You're a one-man show at the moment. OK, well, I'm going to give you some thinking space, and I'll see you later. Well, there's 2 very important factors at play here. The first and obvious one is that Anastasia's not here to help make the decision. But the second one, and it's something that Nathan said earlier that I think is absolutely critical, he said they're not looking for their dream home, they're looking for their next home, which I think is a very sensible attitude to have when you're house hunting. Whilst Nathan weighs up the pros and cons, Sunita, our house swap negotiator, has some advice. Sunita's been a property negotiator for over 10 years, helping hundreds of clients move onwards and upwards.
If you want to move house quickly, then house swapping could be the answer. Now, there are several websites out there that could help you find your perfect match. You will, of course, still have to have a HIPS report, and you will be paying stamp duty. But, crucially, you get to avoid a chain, and if you're not on with an estate agent, you avoid estate agent fees. Sunita's invaluable knowledge will help our swappers negotiate a deal. But first, we need to find out who Nathan has decided to swap with. I'm back. Now, have you made a decision? Do you know which one you'd like to see?
Yeah. I think I've got the decision in hand. Yes.
So, which one is it?
If it was just my decision, I think I'd go for the one in Buxton, but maybe that's in a few years' time. At the moment, we both lead pretty busy lives, and Max is very busy at school. So I think I'll go with the one I'm sure is my wife's first choice as well, which would be the first house in Titherington.
All you need now is a change of clothes, a wife and a son. Can you arrange that?
Yeah, we'll work on that.
Thank goodness for that. Still to come, Nathan and Anastasia discover a very little boy's room.
Oh my gosh, there's a toilet for short people.
While Mark and Sam discover a slice of paradise.
A kind of a Mediterranean feel almost, doesn't it?
It has actually. You sort of don't feel like you're in this country somehow.
But as things come to a head in the negotiation, will the deal crumble?
If it was £100,000 for a swap, we'd have a decision to make, I think.
You're not prepared to budge.
It's time to swap homes for the day. Nathan and Anastasia want a 4-bed family house with a garden. So they're road testing Mark and Sam's 4-bed, fully renovated home 3 miles away in Tiverington.
I like it's actually quite a nice front.
I like the drive. And
big drive?
It's a big drive.
Yeah, it's a big drive.
This is quite nice, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's nice.
While Mark and Sam want to downsize and cut mortgage costs. So they're trying out Nathan and Anastasia's 2-bed flat in Bollington.
Oh, I like the entrance as well.
There's a concierge desk.
Yeah.
They all have the chance to exchange lifestyles for the day before they decide if a permanent swap is on the cards.
Let's have a look.
You know what I like? The horseshoe. There. Brings you luck. It does.
Nice entrance. Clean. Modern. Nice.
No dada rails
No.
as well.
It's nice. I like the floors. They've done a nice job.
It feels nice, actually. The kitchen is new.
You know, it's done, finished house, isn't it? You know, you could move into it. You can't have my big American freezer, the fridge freezer, though.
You could have it instead of this.
Put it up there.
I like the big cooker, actually, Nathan.
Yeah, it is big. I could definitely fit a whole turkey in there at Thanksgiving.
So it looks like the kitchen isn't falling foul of Nathan and Anastasia.
Little storage closet. Let's have a look in here. Oh my gosh, there's a toilet. For short people.
Yes, and talking of short, only a short 3 miles away in Bollington, what are Mark and Sam's first impression of the converted mill?
Apparently we're on the 4th floor, so...
Okay.
Press a button.
Guess we get the lift then.
Yeah, I'm going to take the stairs, actually.
Okay.
Stairs and all.
I'll see you up there then.
There's some good views from here, which is good. Oh, right, that's nice.
Let's see what it's like, Evie.
Palaces are lovely as well. I do like old buildings.
Oh, we're going out this way.
Through these doors. Hello.
We're just checking out the downstairs.
This is lovely, isn't it? I like this. It's got kind of a Mediterranean feel almost, hasn't it?
It has actually. You sort of don't feel like you're in this country somehow. Oh, yeah. Wow. I guess we make ourselves at home. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's good, actually.
I'm glad it's a good size, because the worry with the apartment was that, you know, it would be a bit small.
Yeah, I like this. Wow, look at that window.
I like them balusters. The window
That is fabulous, isn't it?
Amazing, actually, yeah. Definitely to our taste.
Yeah. Look at that view, yeah.
View?
Wow.
Wow.
That's really
That doesn't
good.
get much better than that, does it?
And with such stunning views over Cheshire, I'm not surprised they're smiling like, Cheshire cats.
Feels a lot more homely than I thought it would feel, actually.
Yeah.
I could see this working, you know, possibly.
Despite being on the 4th floor with no garden, Mark and Sam are seeing the potential of the flat. And their outdoor space back home is intriguing Nathan and Anastasia.
Shall we look at the conservatory?
Have a seat there.
It's bright, it's airy, it's clean. But it's got windows and doors you could open to give you the impression that you're outside if the weather's not great, but you could still get the fresh air, couldn't you?
It feels like you're in the garden. So
Set the barbecue up on the patio there.
what do you think about the garden?
Small and slopey. Max will roll down the hill.
You could roll a cheese down the hill.
Best make it Cheshire cheese then, Nathan.
Ooh.
Looks like it's new carpets as well.
Look at this.
Oh, this is nice as well.
Yeah. Oh, you found the bed. Ooh.
You've got a hidden little ensuite in there.
So it's got 2 bathrooms.
Here we go, this is the main bathroom then. This is, this is great.
This is a proper master-sized bedroom, isn't it? You could actually have this as like a bit of a lounge area, couldn't you?
Do you think it's the main bedroom?
Not sure, but it's a pretty nice sized room. Still quite a lot of space.
Oh.
Small but a nice room. Certainly would be a pleasant guest room.
This is the main bedroom. It feels very new, doesn't it?
Yep, did a nice job. This is the extension. This must be the ensuite. Is there a trapdoor to another room here, dear?
No.
It's the big room.
No, I could never understand the size of this.
I never
room.
understood why they build houses with this small room.
What do you do after your baby grows up?
Trade it in for another one. I think you wind up using it for, I don't know, an office? Yeah.
Whilst Nathan and Anastasia work out what to do with the nursery, its current occupant is off to visit the neighbour to see how family-friendly Clarence Mill really is.
So there are quite a few families living in this particular. There are a fair few with young babies like yourself. When you've got a toddler, it's great because the floor space offers a lot of opportunity for ride-ons, for scooters, for running around, practising the walking, practising the crawling, anything like that is actually is a very, very good space for that.
But with no garden of their own, Mark and Sam head outside to check what's on the communal doorstep.
Yeah, what is it?
There's a duck.
And right outside is a great alternative, the Macclesfield Canal.
Watch, watch that ducky.
And after leaving Evie with Sam's mum for an afternoon nap, it's time to find somewhere a little drier for her to play.
Oh, here you go, there's a park. That's not far at all, is it then?
No, it isn't. Well, the flat's just there, isn't it? Is that it?
Yeah, yes, the chimney, yeah. Oh, so that's really close then.
And Bollington town centre is only a 5-minute walk away, where there's a real sense of local community.
It's very traditional around here, isn't it?
It's been a while since I've set up the butchers. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello. We're thinking of possibly moving to the local area, Bollington. We've just been looking at Clarence Mill, actually, with the canal at the back.
Clarence Mill's a beautiful building.
Yeah, it is.
You know, the architecture there, it's a Grade 2 listed building. It's a really nice location. In fact, my daughter lives in Clarence Mill.
Oh, does she?
Right, okay,
right.
there you go.
Right, and she enjoys living there.
Yeah.
I know the man who did that mill, and it was his 15th mill conversion he did.
Yeah.
And he really went to town on that.
He's done a good job, hasn't he? Yeah.
And there's just one last stop, a rather steep jaunt up Kerridge Hill to take in the stunning views over Cheshire.
Oh, look at that, it's really good actually.
Amazing, isn't it?
It's not there. There you go, look, there's the apartment. There's the mill.
Yeah, this is fantastic, isn't it? Oh, I don't know if I'd do this every day though.
Meanwhile, in Tiverington, Nathan's got to get back to work.
I'll catch you in a little while, okay? All right, okay, bye.
But Anastasia's keen to discover what's on her potential new doorstep, and half a mile down the road is the prestigious village of Prestbury.
This place sounds quite nice.
Oh no, Prestbury is delicious. It's absolutely gorgeous. Fantastic walks throughout the area as well. We've got the Bollin River, so you can go and have a nice sort of walk around there and then pop back here, possibly have a sandwich or a bit of nice homemade cake.
But it's the properties that really impress in this neck of the woods.
You can see there is quite a difference between the houses.
Oh, massive. You've got a big mansion with the footballers in it, and then you've got the lovely little terraced houses. No, it's a gorgeous little village. It is steeped in a lot of history, and it's a good community. You feel very safe, and there's lots of social things going on as well.
Thank you. You make me feel very well.
Oh, good. I'm glad about that.
So, as the one-day swap draws to a close, is a permanent swap a possibility?
It's got a lot of wow factors for me, which I do like the window and the mezzanine.
Yeah.
It's been great to actually sort of really...
I think to actually test drive.
Yeah, to sort of act like you live here and just sort of see how you'd get by.
It would have been nice to have a garden or a yard.
I think we can get beyond that though with the park for now. You know, there's a lot obviously we need to discuss and then, you know, maybe put forward on the negotiation day as well.
This sort of house we see as a potential next step. It's got a lot of positives in terms of, what we're looking for. The way they've done it up is very similar to what we would do. So that's definitely a positive factor.
It looks nice. They've made a good home.
Having swapped properties and lifestyles for a day, there's a lot for everyone to consider. Have the two families been convinced to make a swap for good? Well, that was all rather lovely, and it all seems to be going very well indeed. In fact, I think the odds of a house swap are all looking rather promising. But obviously, I don't want to jinx things at this rather delicate stage, so I guess it's best if I just say nothing at all. Oh no, I've got to say something. I've got to say that it's now time for the negotiations, and here's our negotiator, Sunita. Now, I'll say nothing. I promise. Apart from this, Sunita Shroff has been helping people find their dream properties and agree the best price for them for over 10 years. She'll be using her expertise to negotiate a deal for our swappers.
Negotiating can be a tricky and even emotional process, and the properties won't necessarily be valued at the same price. So it's my job to get both sides to agree on a fair and realistic price to swap. But house swapping isn't all about the money. It's about avoiding that awful chain, potentially avoiding the estate agent's fees, and of course of months of your property being on the market. So if both sides are prepared to negotiate, they could walk away with a great deal.
So, let's remind ourselves what Sunita has to negotiate with. Nathan and Anastasia have their two-bed flat in the mill conversion valued at £182,500. They want a modern four-bed house close to their current home. Mark and Sam have their fully renovated four-bed property valued at £295,000. They want to downsize and cut mortgage costs in order to have more time as a family. So first things first, what's the feedback?
Now, you went to visit Clarence Mill, which has the best views of Cheshire, apparently.
Yeah,
they were pretty good.
Very good, weren't they? Yeah, very impressive.
And it's a beautifully converted mill, isn't it?
It's lovely. Very traditional. Quite impressive. Which is what we like. We've got a lot of exposed brick and the traditional windows.
We liked the fact that it was open plan, so you got this real feeling of light.
And what are the cons?
An apartment doesn't generally come, and this one doesn't, with a garden or yard.
I think that's a consideration that we do need to take into account.
Now, you're currently in a two-bedroom property with no garden, and you were looking for something bigger with a garden, so you chose Titherington. So tell me what you liked about the property.
It's a really lovely home. It's similar taste to ours as well, so you could walk in, open the door and move your stuff in and live there without really having to do anything other than a few personal touches.
And in terms of barbecue and outdoor dining, there is an area for it.
Yes.
So I like that.
Any cons?
The type of house, the style of house as well, it doesn't thrill me to begin with, but I guess I'm prepared to make that compromise for a time. I mean, it's got that tiny room as well where you can put a baby's crib in, and that's about it. So
that would be the most negative for us, because we were looking for a four-bedroom house, and I wouldn't call it a four-bedroom.
Okay, now moving on to valuations. And I'm just interested to know what value you place on the mill.
We have done a bit of research since viewing the property. So I think a figure of 165, maybe 170 would be about right for us.
Yeah. I've seen some properties in and around the area, and 182,500, which is what it's on the market for at the moment, is on the high side. So 165,000, I think, is definitely a good starting point. So if that's 165,000 and your property's on the market at 295,000, the spread is then going to be 130,000. So if they were to go forward with this, the proposal that you're putting on the table is their property's worth 165,000 and they need to pay you 130,000.
Correct.
Okay. Good starting point. So Mark and Sam's property is on the market at 295,000. I actually feel that that is fairly accurate. What value do you place on their property?
Yeah, to me it's more about how much cash we'd give them rather than what each other's properties are valued at. You know, I would say that their property, I would say something like 80 to 100,000 pounds differential would be in the ballpark of the difference between the two properties.
I think 100,000 is good to start with, certainly, because Mark and Sam's spread, they've proposed 130,000.
Right.
So again, it's the initial proposition. So at the moment, there's that 30,000 gap. Whether you can meet in the middle or not remains to be seen.
2 hours into the negotiation, and Sunita's got a serious challenge. Mark and Sam feel that a fair swap would be Nathan and Anastasia's flat plus £130,000 in exchange for their house. But Nathan and Anastasia feel that a fair swap would be their flat plus £100,000 in exchange for Mark and Sam's house.
I spoke to Nathan and Anastasia and I discussed that you'd put £130,000 on the table as being a fair price to swap. And Nathan and Anastasia felt that the fair price to swap, in their opinion, to start off with, would be £100,000.
Right, okay. That's sort of putting their house a lot higher than what we imagined their property. But
so actually the valuations, they could go up and down, up and down. If you meet in the middle and the spread is right, everything works.
So they've come back at 100, we've come back at 130. So I'm thinking, what are you thinking, 120-ish? Or 125?
I think 100. I would say 120. I think to give that extra bit of flexibility on our part. You know, I think that's a fair figure.
Okay. So here is the deal on the table as it stands at the moment. Right. The differential was £130,000 in your camp and £100,000 in Nathan and Anastasia's. Now, you've actually dropped your differential from £130,000 to £120,000. So I'm going to take that to Nathan and Anastasia and see what they think. I went back to Mark and Sam with your 100,000. In a ideal situation, they'd walk away with 130,000. They know that that's not good for you, so they're prepared to drop to 120,000.
I think we're getting closer, obviously. If it was £100,000 for a swap, we'd have a decision to make, I think.
You're not prepared to budge on the 100,000?
We're not at a luxury to budge.
Okay, fine. I'm going to take that back on upstairs and see what they think and whether they'll move. And if they do, then you've got a big decision to make.
Yes.
So, Sunita, we're ploughing on, we're heading further down the road in terms of negotiations. How is it going?
Well, they're never very easy, but the one thing that has struck me about both parties this time is that they're both trying to be reasonable, they're both trying to be flexible, and one party is prepared to compromise a little bit more than the other.
Okay, but it's all heading in the right direction. Yeah. Have I ever shown you how flexible I am?
Ooh! Now, I was hoping to come back with really good news, actually, that perhaps from 100,000 they'd moved up closer to your 120,000.
Right.
But unfortunately, they feel that 100,000 is as far as they could possibly go.
Okay, well, I mean, it's a bit of a shock, actually. I did think there'd be a bit of flexibility on their part as well. So, obviously, I mean, we've laid our cards on the table and we couldn't do that.
Is there anywhere else to go from here?
Well, we certainly can't accept 100,000 differential. That is just too low for us. But, I mean, there may be a little bit more flexibility from our end if they were prepared to be more flexible. Or
what sort of figure are you thinking about?
115, I guess, is what we were thinking.
Yeah.
In an ideal you know, it's a straight down the middle negotiation situation, but so that's the bottom line, really.
Yeah, I don't think we'd want to go beyond 115.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think you should either, definitely not. And I think 115 is absolutely spot on. Right, this is the final deal, final offer on the table. 115,000 is what you were proposing. Now let's see if they'll go for it.
Okay, great.
Now, you're going to be pleasantly surprised at this, because I went back up to Mark and Sam, who'd dropped already to 120,000, and they feel that they would be prepared to actually drop again to 115,000. So they will drop the spread in order to carry on negotiations.
What do you think?
I think that, you know, it's almost basically to what, you know, our asking prices are. So I think, you know, in terms of a negotiation, we're very, you know, we'd be very close.
Yeah.
Now we have to decide whether we want the house.
You said it.
Sunita's managed to pull back the negotiations from the point of no return, and with both sides seriously contemplating the deal, could a swap be on the cards? So we're all assembled here because we are nearing the end of the process, which is very exciting. I'm sure you're all very relieved about that. You are holding golden keys. Let's find out what they reveal, if it's a swap or not. So, you guys first. Let's turn the key over. OK, that's what I want to see. That's good. We've got half a deal here. Nervously and with trepidation, I say, let's turn your key. Oh, man! Man, no! Is it the wrong key? Have you picked up the wrong key by mistake? Should this have been a green key?
Unfortunately not. Oh.
No, we had to talk long and hard about it, and, you know, you have a lovely property, but it's just not quite for us.
I mean, it is tricky, isn't it? Because it is kind of like dating for houses, and you've got to get 100% love on both sides, otherwise it's not there. But he did well in picking this house.
Perfect.
Well done. Gold star for you. What can I just say to all of you? Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
It's pleasing that we've been able to generate some interest in our apartment, and it's encouraging that we've also been able to find, you know, almost the right property for us as well.
I think we're a little disappointed, but I think it's also given us a bit of you know, sort of a new interest in the fact that we could consider a part exchange now, you know, and I think that might be a way forward that we might go. So it's given us, we've got something positive out of the whole experience as well, which is good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm always honest with you, and obviously it wasn't the outcome I was hoping for. But never confuse a single defeat with a final defeat, which is why I'll see you next time on House Swap.